Raketele, Tempo.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
This morning I'm sharing the stage with guinea fowl, and quite a few of them, as you can see. They're sharing the stage with guinea fowl and barking dogs in a residential area here in Somerset West.
I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming, it's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
And on we'll go, through the wastelands, to the highways. We'll grow in number. Welcome back to the conversation. It's Sunday, January 12th, 2025, folks. Congratulations to the Cheetahs who escaped with a victory in Amsterdam a short while ago. And for those who watch Man Rugby Ascendant, thanks for tuning in. So, very quickly, est-ce qu'il y a une question de moi? Si je parle en fréquence, mais je dois dire non, c'est pas possible, mais je comprends tous. Et es gibt ja eine Frage, ob ich Afrikaans sprechen könne. Und ich muss eigentlich echt sagen, dass ich ja nicht die Wahrheit. Ich kann nicht Afrikaans sprechen, aber ich verstehe alles. Ja, ik praat niet Afrikaans niet, maar ik verstaan. So there's a question there, folks, just very quickly. There's a couple of languages I'll pop through very quickly. Let me say hello to everybody in the chat. Thanks for joining me on a Sunday, January, I want to say 18th. That's next Saturday, January 12th, 2025. Boy, I look at those pictures and it just takes me back. The photograph on Reforger 1984 and near Kreilsheim down in the southern German forest. That was with Jim Evans and Gran. I can't remember Gran's first name. I want to say Peter or John, but Gran. He wound up being Sergeant Gran. It was Sergeant Evans, Gran, and myself. We were a team on that mission. Didn't stay a team for very long. Sergeant Evans moved on. Then he got in a little bit of trouble and then came back. And Gran just kind of disappeared. He went with us on a couple trips, aside from military stuff. But that was us in the back of our electronic communications shelter in the forest near Kreilsheim back in 1984. Picture of me in 1985 in my dress blues as a sergeant for the color guard for the 8th Infantry Division, and then later on a photograph of me standing in my mess blues at the U.S. mission to Ethiopia in Addis Ababa, over 9,000, almost 10,000 feet. Whew, that was a high elevation there. Anyway, folks, yeah, so let's, Ansi Kotza asked if I speak Afrikaans. I don't speak it. I do understand it, most of it anyway. Dylan Komberg is here. Hendo, Alison Johnson, Val Cooper, George Steinberg, Wilma Rasmus, Radesteenkamp. Hello, Chris. What do you think about Facebook and YouTube's new guidelines? I think it's all a smokescreen. I don't buy it for a second. I will wait and see it play out. What I'll say about this is that it just shows you how dishonest and disingenuous these companies are. They will blow with the wind. They don't stand for what's right, for what's wrong, for what's moral, for what's courageous. You have to do what's right, moral, and just all the time. And they're not doing that. They censored our contact. They destroyed my original channel. They stopped all my momentum. And here we are 5 years later, 4 years after they committed these offenses against me. And I've not become huge on the social media. And maybe I'm not talented enough. Maybe that's the reason. But we awfully know the real reason is because, genuine reason, one of the proximate causes is because of their nonsense. I don't trust them for a heartbeat. Not for a second. Don't trust Twitter either. They're still a censorship platform. My content is still hidden on Twitter. Almost nobody discovers my content, regardless of what hashtags and @ symbols I put in there to contact people. And those who are connected, the famous, only connect with the famous. So you'll see Elon Musk promote Cat Turd. You'll see Elon Musk promote this account. Elon Musk promote this account. You'll see that, what's his name there? Ben Shapiro promotes nobody, and neither does Candace Owens. These people, Charlie Kirk, are all in their instant little world. They somebody catches fire like Cat Turd, they'll grab a hold of them. But if you don't catch fire, no matter how talented or good you are, they don't talk to you. That's not bitter. It's not sour grapes or bitter. What's the word? Bitter bum. I don't know. Anyway, that's not that. It's just a statement of fact, folks. It's just the reality. So you know what? We plug along. We do what we do. We keep reporting. And I use that in the royal sense, because there's no staff here. There's no team. I have no personal assistant. I have no advertising budget. I have no travel budget. That all comes out of right here, out of my wallet, my travel. Speaking of which, do I have any Quan in here today? Well, there's $1, $2, $3. Ooh, got 3 ones. Oh, there's a 20, a couple 20s in there too. Anyway, that money all comes out of my pocket from my life savings, my hard work, my effort, my endeavors, and my retirement check, such as it is. Anyway, back to the story here. So Teresa's here. So I don't trust them for a second. They will come back. I'm still getting copyright claims on videos that I have the copyright to from 3.5 years ago. Yesterday, I had two videos attacked by YouTube, accusing me of copyright violations for my own content on my own channel. Yeah, and also for music I have the authority for. So Ansi, I hope I answered your question there. Richard Kuhn is here. Teresa Hendo is in from the United Kingdom. Neville Purden, Jan Filion, Alan Kotza, Pablo Charlie from the Netherlands. Eric is in from Cape Town. Sorry to say the West Coast. Hester Kotza. Hester, how you doing there? George Steinberg in from Heckport. Ja, Ansi, Chris verstaan Afrikaans. I do understand it. So, and Leah Minar is here. Hello, Leah. And then who else we got here? Zachary Joubert. Zachary, although I'm sure in Afrikaans it's pronounced different, but Zachary Joubert is the French, probably Huguenot descent, I would imagine there. Zachary, welcome to the program. Goeiedag. Ja. Hooghandet Zuid-Afrika. Otsihilijang. Botswana. Ja. Servus. Tous. All right, George Steinberg, as I mentioned, from Heckport. And then who else we got here? Tony Nage in from the oil sands of Canada. Tony's rolling the dough. The man's making so much money off the oil sands, he doesn't know what to do with it. Tony, in his free time, flies around the helicopter and does skiing from a helicopter. Jumps right out of it and hits the powder up there in Whistler and other places. Yeah, we all know about it, Tony. You can't hide your wealth. We know who you are. You're a super secret. You're as rich as Rob Hersoff, and you just don't tell anybody. That's fake news, folks. That's all fake news. Tony works hard for his bread. Good guy. Les Fun Ice says hello from Cape Town's West Coast. Hey, welcome, Les. Well, what is Cape Town's West Coast? Is that Sea Point? Is that where you're at? Janet Liddy is in from South Carolina. Robert Franklin Moore, welcome to you. Light Rain in from the West Coast of the United States. The left coast, the West Coast, the one that's going to break into the Pacific at one point, long in the future. Meerkat is here saying that the Colonel's a handsome chappie. Well, thank you very much. Keep your chappie happy. Good to see you there. Eric is saying hello to everybody. Meerkat. Dusty's back. Good to see you, Dusty. Anne Marie Nell here, probably missing Formula One today, although I don't think there is any. Rose Wheeler, welcome to you. Thank you for your YouTube videos. You're very welcome, Rose. I've got a few topics I can make videos on today as a consequence of developments, but I'm going to need to get a shower. My hair's looking a little substandard here today because I haven't had a shower yet. Busy doing rugby, hence the cap. I wear the caps for promoting things or occasionally just for something different on the channel. Jenkins is all excited about the Free State there. Good to see you there. Dusty, good to see you. Beatrix, Brandon, Nand van Gauteng, Klink Lekke here. You know, it's interesting. I'm getting a lot of names. I haven't seen the chat today. Are you folks new? Please answer if you don't mind. Are you new to the channel or you just haven't been chatting? Because I'm curious. We got 91 people currently watching. How did you find me? What's going on? How are people? I see names here I haven't seen before. I've never seen Beatrice. I would remember Beatrix in there. Thank you for that. And also a few other questions. There's Michael Holmes. Sorry I missed you, Michael. Why is the idea that America invades countries to take oil not truth? Okay, well, first off, I didn't make that question. Is that a question? Are you making a statement? Are you making a statement that you're in opposition to, Michael? Okay, I'll address that before you get to the news. We're going to talk about how violent South Africa and the United States are, but we're going to do a comparison about numbers here because 9,000 mass shooting fatalities in South Africa since 2019 is shocking to say the least. We're going to cover that here shortly. But Michael, why is the idea that America invades countries to take oil not true? What countries has America invaded? Please tell me. The only country I'm aware America has invaded is Iraq in 2003. And Iraq in 1991. What other countries have we invaded? We have not invaded other countries. Since Vietnam, since Vietnam. But technically we didn't invade Vietnam. We were invited in there as well. In Korea we didn't invade. We already had troops there. They were murdered and slaughtered by the North Korean communists, and we retaliated and restored the 49th parallel. So what countries have we invaded? Oh, I'm sorry. We invaded Grenada. We did invade Grenada, invited in by the Caribbean Coordination Council. That's just a rubber stamp, So we did invade Grenada. I'll give you that. We did. Have we invaded Yemen? Oh, I don't think we invaded Yemen. We didn't invade Iraq. That was authorized. Well, yeah, 2003. Yeah. So which countries invaded, and which countries are we getting oil from? So let's just dispel this because I think that's where you're going with Michael. So the U.S. invading countries for oil. Okay. So Venezuela has oil, haven't invaded. Iran has oil, haven't invaded. Saudi Arabia has oil, haven't invaded. Indonesia has oil, haven't invaded. Canada has oil, haven't invaded. Mexico has oil, haven't invaded. These are the big oil producers around the world. We haven't invaded any of them. United Kingdom, Denmark, big oil producers. Norway, big oil producers. Haven't invaded any of those countries. So I'm not really sure where you're going with this. Iraq, we haven't invaded Kuwait. That's another one we haven't invaded. So we haven't invaded Syria. They're a minor oil producer. So I really don't know where that story's coming from. As far as Iraq, because that's the lie that's been told, the U.S. invaded Iraq for the oil. Well, if the claim is we invaded for ourselves to get the oil, it's obvious to prove it was a complete lie. There are no major U.S. oil petroleum producers operating in Iraq. None, not a single one. We spent $1 trillion there and not a single U.S. major company there. Not one. They're all European. Elf Aquitaine is there. Not us. Total. They're there. We're not there. China National Oil Corporation is operating in the Middle East. We're not there. So that's all just a lie. Now, the bigger argument, which I've given justification for before, is that the reality is that the world's economy relies on the flow of goods and energy to Japan and to Europe, now also to China, since China has become the most corrupt little workshop in the world. But China has to be included in that. So China, Japan, South Korea, and Europe need oil, right? They need oil. They don't have oil. China produces oil, but not nearly enough for itself. So where do they get oil from? Well, they get it from the Middle East primarily. And the safe flow of that and the coming out of there is important. So if the argument is the U.S. invaded, we defended Kuwait and Saudi Arabia to prevent the energy crisis from destroying the world's economy. That's true. But we weren't direct beneficiaries. We were secondary beneficiaries because if the world's economy collapses, then people don't buy our goods and services. It affects our economy. If they don't buy our goods and services, they don't sell us things, then we have a problem worldwide. So yes, from that standpoint, the U.S. invades countries for oil. I suppose you can say that for other people, but not for ourselves. All right. So Michael, I've answered your question. I'll see if you've got an update since I started talking. Chantel, welcome Chantel. Good to see you there. Chantel Gentle, I missed you up there earlier. And who else we got here? Peter Joubert is from the south coast of KZN. All right. Thank you. Helen is back. Helene, I'm not new. I'm just quiet. Yeah, no, I know Helene. We know you, Helene Henstock. And says, I am new to your channel, found out about it in your sports broadcaster. Well, thank you for that, Ansakotsa. I really appreciate that. I really need to promote the channel over there. I don't do a very good job of promoting my news channels because I'm not sure everybody wants to go to the news channels. But you can find me here every day, 7 days a week, unless I'm traveling. If I'm going to rugby or going to UK, going to Canada, which I don't do very often anymore, going to South Africa, wherever I'm going, I don't do the news every day, but I try to do it based on 6 p.m. South Africa time. Hert Janssen van Rensburg's 12-month membership. I actually stand corrected. It's 42 months, Hat. Thank you for 42 months. But Ansa, thank you for joining us over here. And did I miss someone named LaRue? Where's LaRue? I don't see LaRue here. There's LaRue Huff. Every time I open my mouth, I get in trouble. Says, Leroy Huff. Why do you get in trouble, Leroy? What happened? 26 million on SASA grants, monthly taxpayers. Yeah, only 7 million jobs. Correct. You are correct there. That's pretty close to the right numbers there. Jan, Leroy Huff, welcome to you. And then I'm missing things here because it's, what about the Clinton debacle in Haiti? What about that? What about that, PK? That's not news. That's old news. Chuck says USA mostly protects the trade routes. I don't know what the statement is there. It is true that the United States Navy has fulfilled the role that the British Navy did for centuries, and that's we police the global shipping lanes and global lines of communication. The United States ensures the free flow of goods and people between the sea lanes of the world, particularly through Indonesia and the straits down there. Yep. So we are definitely in the Middle East. We're definitely ones to do it. Les Van Ice says, I live in Durbanville, but at the moment I'm in Saldana. I found you on YouTube and love your content. Well, thank you, Les. I don't know what's going on. Is YouTube easing the restrictions on my channel? More people are finding it lately. That's kind of exciting, but we need to have a couple million find it. I'd like to have 100,000 subscribers than 500,000. And we actually, if I had 500,000 subscribers, I've said this before, I would make enough advertising revenue off this channel that I could go full time, and this would be my focus, and the travel will be a much bigger part of it. I'd actually hire people. If I'd be able to hire a couple people to do video production and scheduling and things like that, and we could do so much more in content and so much better stuff, and take advantage of this experience and the brain that's up here. Anyway, well, I'm glad you found me. It's nice to hear. So many people haven't found me. This is not a boast, but my viewers know this. I'm sort of kind of a minor celebrity in South Africa, and I use the term minor with a big letter. People told me I was kind of famous in South Africa, and I didn't believe them until I went back there. And in fact, I got to reduce the size of the hat because I got a haircut a few weeks ago, and now it's too loose. Now it's too tight. Come on. That's too hot. That's too cold. That's just right. Yeah, it's like, there you go. All right, that's a little bit better. Anyway, yeah, so Marine Corps needs to invade Panama. I don't know about that, Jan. Durbanville, that's interesting, Les. Thanks for sharing that, and I'm glad that you found my content. Please share with us. Michael says, what are the major policies you want to see in the Trump administration? Okay, Michael trolls sometimes, but Michael also asks very good questions, so let me get to that before we get to the news. So, Michael, I want to see Trump address the invasion of America and the expulsion of 30 million criminal alien invaders gone. That will drop housing prices. That will lead to deflation, reducing prices, and will also take pressure off of so many other aspects of society, of charitable organizations, and we will assert our sovereignty. That's what I want to see, just like every other country in the world that asserts their sovereignty, just like Mexico does, just like South Africa does, although both do it poorly. It's a right to assert our sovereignty. So that's the primary mission. For my first concern is getting control of our border and expelling these millions of illegal criminal aliens who are infiltrating our country and destroying it from within. Next, I would like to see from the Trump administration an effort to genuinely tackle the federal budget and a genuine conversation discussion about the so-called entitlements like Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. These must be addressed. We cannot continue in this fashion. Additionally, this won't happen, but I would love to see subsidies end for the farming sector. The sugar industry should stop getting money. The maize industry should stop getting money and harming America's farming and our economy and consumers. So those are things I'd like to see. Beyond that, I'd like to see America's position in the world restored, which was utterly undermined by the cowardice, ineptitude, and incompetence of the Biden regime. And I would like to see on day one the rescinding of all of this nonsense, setting aside 625 million acres for non-exploration of energy. I would also like to see set aside this transgender nonsense in the military, remove it completely. Also, we're seeing that businesses are falling in line. Corporate executives, banks are all falling in line because they know Trump is going to do what Trump thinks is right, not going to do the nonsense we saw in the first term being undermined by people. And Susie Wiles will ensure that those people are fired when they're treasonous to Trump. And so, yes, I'd like to see a lot of policy things take place in here. I'd like to see a rebirth of the military, and I'd like to see a rebirth of the concept of merit. Also, these aren't things that Trump can necessarily do, policy things, but they can have a policy focusing on this, and the country can follow suit. I'd like to see the end of the nonsense turning America into Europe, in which we believe in the woke nonsense that the actions of your parents are something you're responsible for. I have never enslaved anybody. I have never oppressed anybody. In fact, I've done quite the opposite. I've sacrificed my life, my limb, my fortune, my future, my fame, my very existence to defend the liberty of other people and ensure their freedom in the United States, in Europe, in the Middle East, and across Africa. I have done that and sacrificed my life for the benefit of others. I'm not asking for any special treatment. I'm just asking for a return to meritocracy in which we promote people, we select people for being the best. Not this woke garbage we've seen in Los Angeles where, oh, look, it's the first female fire chief. Who gives a flying flip about who the first female fire chief is? The first black president, the first this, the first that. We don't care. What we care about is competence. I don't care that Denzel Washington is this, that, or that. I care that he's a great actor. Denzel Washington is an incredible actor. And I'm very offended that he never got an Emmy or an Oscar for the movie he did about the 54th Massachusetts. But he got one for being a dirty cop, for a stereotype for black people. They gave him one for that. They gave him one for that on training day or whatever it was. Unbelievable. So I want to see a return to meritocracy. I want to see this wokeness, this virus extinguished, hunted down, and destroyed because it has weakened people. And immediately when you do this, until November, when you spoke like this, oh, you were a homophobe. Who was afraid of homosexuals? Why would somebody be afraid of a homosexual? You're a transphobe. Really? I love the Transformers. Why would I be a transphobe? It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Well, you're just a racist and you're a white supremacist. I'm a white supremacist. Why? Because I would like to see my family be my family? What are the people who eliminate white males from commercials on television? What are they? What are the people that ruined A Discovery of Witches by turning medieval England into a primarily black event? There were virtually no black people, if any, in 1590 in London. None. And there certainly weren't any in the countryside. Yet 40% of the actors in Discovery of Witches are black. Only 11% of America today is black. Yet virtually everybody in my commercials is black. That's not an anti-black statement. Quite the contrary. It's a misrepresentation of reality. And all we hear, and these things are fading now, is white fragility. Ooh, white racist, white supremacist. Ooh, white son. Ridiculous nonsense. I'd like to see reality and normality return to the world. That's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see the end of anti-Semitism and the attacks on Jews. I'd like to see the end of anyone who believes in the existence of a state approved by the United Nations and recognized by the United Nations, a member of the United Nations, the state of Israel, anyone who admits that existence called a Zionist. The Zionists are gone. The Zionist was a movement to create a homeland in the traditional historical birthplace of Judaism. Judea, Samaria, Israel. That was Zionism. They did it, 1948. Done and dusted. Move on. It's just a racial slur, an insult. Yes, and so the channel will grow faster if people like and subscribe. Absolutely. That's what we need. Clinton's involvement in Haiti has been controversial to issues like aid effectiveness. The Clintons were grifters. They stole. There's no aid there. They're just thieves. None of the money got to the Haitians. None of the money. And the Haitians are very upset about it. So I think I've addressed Michael's policy question. So that's two things for Michael. We're going to move on from that. Michael, if you got another question, you have to hold off. John, 99% of Russian oligarchs are Jewish. That's factually untrue, Pablo Charlie. That is factually untrue. Joan Cherry, welcome back. Have seen you before. Welcome in from Cape Town. Right. Kurtz Verhoeven says, need to stop DI hire. Yep, exactly. Yeah, I didn't finish that. So she's the first female fire chief. So what? And she's the first openly gay. I don't care. I don't care what she does in her bedroom as long as the person she does it with is an adult, not a goat. What do I care? And frankly, if she sleeps with a goat, I don't care about that either. Kind of crazy, but not my cup of tea. But I don't care. What I do care about is she gets on the news, and it's in my video, and I put it in there with that exclusive coverage of the overhead fire stuff, courtesy of our firefighter friend. But what I do care about is when she gets on and says, well, I mean, how many are enough? There's never enough. What that meant is there never enough women, blacks, minorities, gays, trans to be firefighters. Whether they're qualified or not isn't germane to her. They just have to be firefighters, and to the exclusion of who? White males. By the way, white males are the second largest ethnic group in this country. Yep. White males represent 38% of the population, 39%. Well, 39% are white females. So there you go. So it's not fragility. We're the largest group. Anyway, but we're not existent in television, non-existent in commercials, completely wiped out. There are white men that show up in commercials, but they're very gay. There are white men who show up in commercials, but they're the boobs in the but they're almost non-existent. Even those people are disappearing. Crystal Ellis, I'll be in Cape Town for 2 weeks for Green Day and Offspring. I have no idea what that means. Mr. Big, maybe this will help. Hope you all can see me. I see Mr. Big. Welcome, Mr. Big. How's it going there? All right. Chris, have any of the other states sent manpower? I don't know the status of states sending firefighters. I suspect that's been the case. I'm a little surprised that South Africa hasn't offered firefighters. That's surprising to me. Mexico and Canada have, and that's one of the stories we'll get to today. U.S. is following South Africa's tune. Yep, destroyed the country. Yeah, but we're ending that now. Here, the LA mayor fired the fire chief because the fire chief criticized. That's what I heard too, Neville. I haven't confirmed that story. I heard that last night, but I've been very busy with rugby. Didn't exist until gold was discovered, yet they claim it to be their damn land. Well, there was no Pretoria. It was named after Andres Pretorius. There was no mystical Swane named Swana-speaking chief who was there. That's just that's a legend. And so they renamed him. A lot of people in South Africa have the same wishes as you. I know, Helene. It's true. Blauberg Island. I don't know, or Blauberg Strand. I was going to say, I know where Blauberg Strand is, Richard. Oh, you're not too far from Erica then. Okay, I'll entertain one more from Michael because we're going to do it. So we're half an hour in. We'll see how many people you disappear and run off to Ronaldo at the top of the hour. All right, so I'll itinerary one more from Mike. I said I wasn't going to do it. Michael says, what do you think about H-1B1 visas? Do you support legal immigration as much as possible? No, I don't support legal immigration as much as possible. I support legal immigration, but not as much as possible. Well, okay, wait. Maybe I do support as much as possible. The phrase I would use is not possible, but practical. We have to be able to absorb. You have an absorptive capacity. We are well beyond our absorptive capacity with legal and illegal immigration. And all we hear all the time from the Democrats is we need comprehensive immigration reform. No, we don't. Oh, actually, we do. We need to reduce it. We need to get it under control. And when I think of the H-1B program, I think it's fantastic when it's used properly. But it's used to create basically indentured servants to tech companies, among others. 70% of the H-1B visas are for Indian nationals. They're here. And they're overstaying. They're getting automatic renewals when they're not supposed to. And it's abused. Americans are fired from the tech industry. So Elon Musk can run and go, well, Americans don't do STEM. They're not. All the people in my class at Florida State, there were no Americans there. Yeah, because they're excluded. White males don't get into schools because they're excluded. They're told they're not bright. We promote women over men. Oh my goodness. Seriously, Elon Musk, you are so disconnected from what's actually happening in America. You're the most brilliant dumbass I've ever heard of. You don't get what's going on here in America. American men have been treated like crap for 40 years. And as a consequence, they have higher rates of suicide, higher rates of alcoholism, higher rates of lower education standards. Why? Because the system was rigged against them. I overcame it. I didn't fall subject to it. Everybody can overcome it. I'm not whining because white men have got these standards. They've allowed themselves to be put in that box for whatever reason. But you're not going to put me in that box. Anyway. So the H-1B1, so whatever's practical. What we have now is not practical, it's excessive. And 50,000 Americans lost their jobs in the tech industry in 2024. Yet Elon Musk says we need more H-1B visas. Why? So you can fire more Americans and hire more Indians? No. The reason all our tech companies are being run by Indians is because of this bias and bigotry against Americans, which has pushed them out, and the abusive H-1B visa program. And the people that don't believe that are the ones that don't know it and haven't researched the H-1B visa program. I've been talking about that for years. Elon Musk jumps on it now. That's nice of him to do it. Anyway, so there you go. Taking care of it. Israel said help. I didn't know that. That's news to me. Immigration is a contributing factor in any economy. Sure, Pablo Charlie. And it's also a negative factor. Ask Laken Riley. Oh, you can't ask Laken Riley. She was raped and brutally murdered by a criminal alien deported multiple times. We could ask Kate Steinle. Oh, we can't ask Kate Steinle. She was shot and murdered by a criminal alien migrant who had a firearm, a felon carrying a firearm in San Francisco, shot in broad daylight and murdered. Her life terminated short. Kate Steinle. Who remembers her? Jenkins. Colonel, see the USA vote for the Republicans for a few times in a row from now on, or U.S. ping pong. We'll ping pong back and forth. We'll ping pong back and forth because Americans, like anyone in the developed world, have the attention span of a gnat. Lose attention quickly. You know, it's like, how do any black Americans vote for the Democratic Party when they say the Democrats represent them? Okay, I'll accept that, but show me how. And you start telling black Americans, well, they ended slavery. They didn't end slavery. They propagated slavery. They created the Klan, by and large, Democrats. The Democrats broke away from the Union to keep slavery going in the South. Republicans fought to end it. Republicans ended 13th, 14th, 15th Amendments. Boom, boom, boom. Civil Rights Act of 1954, 1955, 1956. Not all of them got passed because Democrats stopped it in the legislature. The only reason that the Civil Rights Act 1964 and the Voting Rights Act 65 got passed because of Republicans. Democrats voted against it. The overwhelming majority of Republicans voted for it. Otherwise, it wouldn't have passed in the House and Senate. Anyway, legal immigration and solid regulations. You don't have legal immigration and solid. You've got a problem in the Netherlands. You got more Indonesians than you can shake a stick at. Your Indonesian minority is several million at this point, and it is not a insignificant issue in the Netherlands. Don't try to hide behind that, Pablo Charlie. I know the Netherlands. I know what's going on there. You got a serious issue. You got a racial issue here, which people try to downplay. Oh, the Dutch are so nice. Oh, gold member. So nice, the Dutch people. Ah, Dutch people, so nice. Yeah, no problems. You got major problems in the Netherlands. Nice try, man. Nice try. No, most black Americans are not conservative. All right. All right, let's get to the news. Finally, for those who hung around, we're at 116 people right now. It sounds like you guys enjoy us. I want to talk about this. An increasingly violent country is the title of a story on News 24 today. 9,000 South Africans killed in mass shootings since 2019. This released by the police minister, Mkhunu. Wow. 9,000. Holden Caulfield, I'm curious about the events between Benghazi leading up to the Tonga Tombas. Oh, Holden, yeah, happy to talk about that, but probably put a pin in that and come back to it at the end of the broadcast after you get the news. I got a lot of news I got to do right now, and I spent 30 minutes not getting to news. I started the stream early just to get the music out of the way. So hold that, put a pin in it, and come back to it. I'm happy to talk about that at some point. Benghazi, my colleague, my friend, was the chief of the Office of Security Cooperation in Libya when that went down. He had just come back from Benghazi when he was back in Tripoli when that crap went down. So yeah. Yes, Hakan, Moroccans, Somalis, and lots of Indonesians. We don't have mass shootings. We don't have experienced any terror attack like this decade. Unlike it. Yeah, because all the terrorists live in the Netherlands. Pablo, do you not realize that? They don't attack the place they live in. That's why you're not seeing terror attacks in South Africa. It's a financing and logistical hub for them, just like the Netherlands. Come on, man. Come on. Seriously? That's the reason. That's why you don't see that. I sense some jealousy. Nope. I mean, look, okay. You show me some nice, deep blue-eyed, blonde-haired young lady from Ameland and the Zayda Zay. Maybe I'll be jealous. But back to this story. So Mkhunu releases this, whoops, there we go. All right. So mass shootings have claimed the lives of over 9,000 people since 2019. Wow, that's just 2019 to 2023. 1,900 individuals were arrested, 143 cases result in convictions, and 22 illegal firearms linked to the murders. Ladies and gentlemen, 9,000 people were murdered, and they only found 22 firearms. 9,000 people were murdered, only 143 convictions. 9,000 deaths in mass shootings, 143 convictions. Now, I am not going to say that the U.S. is not a violent country when it comes to crime, but you have to compare size. Size matters. It does. Come on, ladies. Be easy. Here. Size does matter. All right. So where the heck's it at? Let me find this very quickly here. Okay. So these are the number of homicides. No, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for the homicides. What am I looking for? Oh, here it is. This is the stat I want. Okay. So 9,000 people have been killed in mass shootings in South Africa since 2019, 21, 2, 3. In 5-year period, 9,000 people. The United States, which has a reputation, the United States, they have firearms, it's so dangerous there. Oh, mass shootings everywhere. Wow, did we just lose 13 people because I went to the news? Oh, we went up 123. Okay, so mass shootings, right? Let's go ahead and talk about that, folks. Mass shootings. This is the reality. This is from the Rockefeller Institute of Government about mass shootings. Now, the problem with mass shootings is people define them differently. More than one person shot, or is it more than 3 people, that sort of thing. So, mass shootings in the United States. The violent country of the United States where firearms are out of control. Everybody's a gun. They're everywhere. Shootings all the time in schools. It's not true. The media overplay this. Any of these instances is shocking and sad. But, that's not right. Sorry, that's not what I'm looking for. Trying to give this. Here's a stat. Here's the data from the Rockefeller Institute for mass shootings. The number of mass shootings in the United States from 1966 until 2022 was just 441. That resulted in 1,569 deaths. 3,900 people were that includes deaths, were injured and killed. So wow. 1,569. 50. Now, the numbers increased from 2013 to 2022. There's 170 of them. And there's reasons for that. But 1,569 people killed in mass shootings since 1966. South Africa's had 9,000 in a 5-year period. 9,000. A country 1/6 the size of ours. So 6 times that. So if we made South Africa, all things being equal, the same size as America, 360 million people, you would have 6 times as many fatalities. Let's just go with 5 times. So 5 times, 45,000 people would have been murdered in mass shootings compared to 1,500 in the U.S. That's insane. Of course, that's a made-up statistic. You really can't go with that. It doesn't accomplish anything. But wow, talk about violence. Mr. Big says, everyone finds statistics used for their propaganda. Use caution. I'm not using propaganda. I'm stating the obvious. I did say the United States is a place where gun violence is a problem. Did I not, Mr. Big? See, that's the difference. That's the difference. I'm telling you the truth here. I'm not using statistics to make my point or to push a propaganda point. You say, so violent, I've never even thought about my safety in 2 years. You put your wallet in your back pocket and everywhere. Yeah, no, I'm with you, Arctic. Unfortunately, I've left the keys in my front door on numerous occasions when I come home when I worked at the War College. Never did. Yeah, no, I got you, Mr. Big. I know, I got you. You agree with me. Yeah, so I've never been robbed. Never been robbed in America. Never had a home break in America. Never been shot in America. Never been carjacked in America. It's very fortunate. We do have crime and we do have violent crime, but a country this size, it's, relatively speaking, pretty good. And I'm not picking on South Africa. I'm just making the point because some South Africans, leftists will attack me and go, oh, man, America. And, I get other people, especially black supremacists, but America. No, dude, but South Africa, pay attention to what's going on in your own backyard. There's lots of problems there that need to be addressed and you can't hide behind it. It doesn't work that way. All right. So that's a scary thought. 9,000 people killed. 1,896 individuals arrested, but only 143 convictions. How in the world do you only have 143 convictions in all these cases? Well, Fikile Mbalula is in trouble again, folks. Ooh, Fikile. So this is what having political office means to many Africans. Many Africans. In fact, dare I say, probably even a majority, if not a plurality of Africans, this is what it's all about. It's about perks and privileges, self-aggrandizement, self-enrichment, and craving political power. And Fikile Mbalula shows once again why he's in politics, not for South Africans, not for black liberation, not for equality, not for transformation, but for his own grift, his own greed. Look at this. Secretary General of the African National Congress shocks the top brass by snubbing a ferry that everyone else took and taking a luxury yacht to the 113th anniversary celebration of the ANC. ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula stunned the party's leaders at the 113th birthday bash in Cape Town when he rocked up at Robben Island in a flashy power yacht that belongs to a Cape Town businessman with government contract. Snubbing the Robben Island Museum ferry, the Sikuhulakile, that transported other ANC leaders, media, and guests, he opted to travel in style, arriving with an entourage of Youth League members. Only President Ramaphosa also didn't take the ferry because he flew in a helicopter for security reasons. His flamboyant arrival left ANC leaders, including Nomvula Monyokanye and Gwen Ramakopa, visibly aghast as the ANC is committed to eliminating glamour and luxury in its public campaigns as part of its renewal program. It was ugly. He arrived late and he was the first to leave. We all went to Robben Island on a normal ferry with everyone else, and this man comes with this expensive thing. It plays again into what happened in Durban with the G-Wagon. He doesn't learn. Yeah, no. Fikile Mabalula should be sacked today. If Ramaphosa has a pair of testicles, which I doubt he does, he should fire Fikile Mabalula. Boom, done and dusted. The ANC needs to get rid of him. He's a clown. The scientist says he should be allowed to take any transport he wants. Really? Okay, sure. People starving to death in South Africa. Children going without food because incompetent ANC members of the city council in Port Elizabeth, Nelson Mandela Bay, turned back 63 million rand that they didn't spend for an infant and child food feeding program that they didn't know how to spend. So 15 toddlers and infants starved to death. And this guy is in a luxury yacht. Why are black South Africans not up in arms about that? They're almost all black or colored. Nobody said anything. I'm like the only freaking journalist on the planet other than Propaganda 24 that even reported on those 15 children who starved to death. Yes, I know he can't fire him, but he ought to influence the NEC to get rid of him. Ramaphosa declares 2025 the year of renewal. He vows to clamp down on ill discipline in the African National Congress. The year of renewal. Okay, sure. Yeah, we're going to renew the ANC. To what? ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa has called for a renewed focus on discipline. You got to shut your mouth. That's what renewal means. Warning that those who conduct themselves as they please, undermining party values, hard at work to destroy, will be shown the door. Does that include Fikile Mabalula, the ANC Secretary General, who's riding around in luxury yachts when the ANC says it's not about luxury, we have to show humility? Yeah, okay. Renew or perish, says Ramaphosa. Well, I think perish is on the cards for the ANC. Yep. The ANC should either renew itself or perish, said Ramaphosa as he delivered his first ANC January 8th statement after the party lost its outright majority in the national election back in May of last year. Well, renew. Ramaphosa slams the South African Communist Party over its dissent regarding the government of national unity. The communist allies misguided in opposing a tactical move to cooperate with the DA, ANC president says in his message. President Ramaphosa used the ANC January 8th statement yesterday to reject Communist Party criticism of the government of national unity. We must not have members who will leave the alliance. We must not have members who break ties. Our alliance has led us to where we are. Oliver Tambo saw that the alliance has been put together in a struggle by the sweat and blood of our people. It is therefore important that this alliance must remain united. Yeah, it's the alliance of evil. The tripartite alliance between the Communist Party over here, COSATU, the trade unions, and the ANC, the tripartite commie alliance. Bye-bye. Going to go away. It almost fell apart when Zuma was present because at least COSATU did something productive for once. Ladies and gentlemen, another assault on a farm. Fortunately, this one isn't a murder, but the tragedy is unbelievable. What is happening? This one near Stellenbosch, not the wine estate, Rust und Vrede, rest. That is not the wine estate, but a Rust und Vrede farm at crowbar attack. The owner is in intensive care and his traumatized wife is injured. Stellenbosch police are investigating a case of a house robbery after the owner of Rust und Vrede farm and his wife were attacked Friday morning. Johan Ruus and his wife were ambushed by men at 4 o'clock in the morning on their farm near the R44. It's a different property than the wine estate run by winemaker Jan Engelbrecht, but it's also in the Stellenbosch district. Their faces were covered with masks. One had a crowbar and sprayed tear gas in the woman's face and assaulted her with a crowbar in her upper body. They demanded money from her. She awoke to find 2 unidentified men in her room. She saw that her husband had blood on his head. Suspects then put her in the bathroom and she locked herself in the bathroom. After she waited a while, she climbed through the window to escape and pressed the panic button. Armed response arrived and alerted police who immediately responded. They were taken to the hospital. Johan is in intensive care and she's too traumatized to speak to the media. They took off with a flat screen TV and they gained entrance through a window in the braai room after cutting through a fence of the premises to gain entry. Spokesperson Rojan Devet said the attack reaffirmed the ongoing risk facing farmers. Farm attacks and violent crime not only affect the victims, but also the farm workers, their families, and community. Yep. See, time and again, the suspects are either not prosecuted or the justice system does not hold them accountable. Yep. And eventually, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to lead to vigilantism. People are going to have enough of this and they're going to start taking the law into their own hands. That's what's going to happen. How would you fix crime rate in South Africa? Well, Michael, it's not an overnight fix. It's been allowed to metastasize and become a societal problem. You have the horrific treatment of women and girls. You have the horrific treatment of minorities. You have the horrific treatment, the callous disregard for life. It's going to take societal change. In the meantime, you start putting deterrence out there by actually prosecuting criminals and incarcerating them. Life is life. When you brutally murder someone, you give them a life sentence, you don't get out in 20 years. That's nonsense. That's not a deterrent. And the fact that there were 9,000 deaths in mass shootings, only 142 convictions, 143 convictions, that's not a deterrent. You put money into the education system to give people proper educations, and they learn the value of life. So there's lots of ways to deal with that, Michael. I really entertain a lot of your questions today. I hope you appreciate that. So government is about to do a $12 million rescue of the Stilfontein mine. They think that about 550 Zama's illegal miners are still underground, along with more than 100 dead bodies. Ouch, ouch, ouch. So the Pretoria High Court heard where there were 109 dead bodies in shafts 10 and 11. The operation is going to cost 12 million rand, and the bill will be shared between the government and the Minerals Council of South Africa. Why is the government of South Africa paying to take these criminals out of the mine? That's insane. That's absolutely insane. Why is the government of South Africa responsible for that? Why are taxpayers responsible for these criminals? You're not responsible. You didn't go down the mine. You're not stealing the gold. You didn't let them in. You didn't open up the door and go ahead, get some gold. Share it with me. No, but you have to pay for it. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I think the corporation that didn't secure the site properly ought to be paying some of this bill. That's just me. Anyway, in that position, somebody just sent me another text message. Hang on a second here, folks. I'll make sure this isn't a crisis. People tend to give me crises on Sundays that I have to deal with. Okay, no, that's not it. Someone's asking me if I'm going to Vancouver for the Sevens. I thought about it, but I hadn't really made serious plans. So anyway, it's not an easy place to get to from here. Downpours, serious rain issues. A lot of rain in South Africa the past few weeks. In Limpopo province hit hard. 13 people reportedly have drowned. Wow. Roads are closed. Hospital and 400 households damaged. 13 people, including 2 toddlers, have drowned. That's horrible. The Capricorn, Mopani, and Waterberg districts have been severely affected by the deluge. How ironic is that? The Waterberg district hit by rain. Wow. 13 people drowned in the hospital, or 400 households have been damaged. Multiple weather warnings by the South African Weather Service. Crazy. Bad news for South Africa. Well, ANC supporters boo the Communist Party Secretary General when he got up to speak about running in the elections in 2026. ANC's electoral support was affected by state capture, corruption, and internal fighting, claims Lisa Tandwa. ANC supporters jeer SACP leader Tulas Nxesi during January 8th message. Supporters jeered as he made his statement. The national chairperson used the ANC birthday party celebrations to reiterate the decision by the Communist Party to contest elections was made by its entire leadership. So they jeered him. Ladies and gentlemen, there aren't fractures in the ANC and its tripartite alliance. There are fissures, not fractures, fissures. It's out of control. They are falling apart. Sad news for those who are familiar with the Khoisan King, the self-declared Khoisan King, whom I interviewed, whom I met in 2022, courtesy of Kali and, of course, our favorite soapy star there from Neil De Beer's party, Fatima Abdul, who met with me there. We met the Khoisan King at the Union Buildings in Pretoria. His wife has died in a single-car vehicular accident, apparently after a tire puncture. The vehicle lost control, and she died. I met her. Tragic news. Yeah, the Khoisan group has been camping at the Garden of Union Building since December of 2018 as they protest the quest for the First Nation recognition and land rights. And there he is. It happened on January 10th on the N9 between Colesberg and Newport. Khoisan King had been camping in the form of a protest Union Building since 2018. He spoke to the Record on Friday as he anticipated to arrive in Pretoria by 6 p.m. in order to fight off an alleged eviction process that would see him forced out of the gardens at the National Key Point, close to the Mandela statue. Yesterday he was supposed to be forced out. He did make it back to Pretoria. He's one of 5 other occupants who survived the accident on the N9. Newport police are investigating a culpable homicide case following a single vehicle accident. The accident has left the king in mourning after the loss of a 54-year-old woman, part of the royal family. According to police spokesman Sergeant Timothy Stam, the vehicle carrying the royal couple, along with 3 others, suffered a tire burst, causing the driver to lose control. Sam said the vehicle overturned, leading to the fatalities that claimed the Queen's life. Khoisan group left the Eastern Cape in November 2018 and arrived at the Union Buildings on December 5th, 2018. They've been the subject of much controversy. In 2019, they rejected the Traditional and Khoisan Leadership Act. In 2022, the king and 3 of his subjects were arrested for allegedly growing and dealing daga. In October 22, the group walked 50 kilometers to raise awareness of the lack of housing. In March of 2023, the group received its 4th notice to vacate the space in 30 days, yet they're still there. Apparently, they were going to evict him yesterday. So, the Khoisan king, a tragedy. Thoughts and prayers to the self-declared, self-styled Khoisan king. Nelson Mandela's grandson, who mysteriously wasn't in the court, was released due to insufficient evidence. How convenient is that? The 3 black dudes and the white lady sitting here in court accused. Their names hidden from the public. Nelson Mandela's grandson, arrested with 4 other suspects on Wednesday after a hijacked vehicle, carjacking, was found in the former statesman's former home in Gauteng. He was released on Friday and did not appear in court as was expected by the public. So why didn't he appear in public? Well, because insufficient evidence. Insufficient evidence. He was caught red-handed, but insufficient evidence. They're still investigating. Judicial tribunal finds Judge Nana Makubela guilty of gross misconduct. Well, that's not good. Judicial Conduct Tribunal has found Judge Nana Makubela, who chaired the interim board of the Passenger Rail Agency of South Africa, PRASA, after being appointed as a judge in Gauteng, guilty of gross misconduct. For unethical conduct while serving as PRASA interim board chairperson after her judicial appointment. So she was playing 2 games at once, taking money from 2 bosses at once. The driver of Inkatha Freedom Party leader and Minister for Cooperative Governance in South Africa, Velinkosi Hlabisa, a driver in his vehicle fleet, died in a crash on the N2 in KZN. IFP President, Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs Minister Velinkosi Hlabisa's security team vehicle was involved in a fatal accident on the N2 northbound near Stanger in KZN Saturday afternoon. The driver was alone in the vehicle and is gone. Passed away. Boy, South Africa's roads are taking a lot of people. Voters in Comoros have voted in their parliamentary elections as we shift our attention from South Africa, Mzansi, to neighboring Comoros out in the Indian Ocean. Voters in Comoros head to the polls to elect a 33-seat parliament. Yep, today. They're voting today to elect the parliament. A year after the re-election of President Azali Assoumani in a poll which the opposition said was rigged by irregularities. Polling stations opened early today, and voters numbering just 338,000, according to the polling body, started casting their ballots at 8 a.m. They last had parliamentary elections in January of 2020, 5 years ago, so right on schedule. Sudan's military has retaken a strategic city from the RSF rebels. Sudan's military and its allies have taken back a strategic city from the rebel Rapid Support Forces, dealing a major blow to the notorious paramilitary group that the United States is accused of committing genocide. The recapture of the city Wad Madani, the capital of the Gezira state, came more than a year after it fell to the RSF. Things are turning against the RSF. Support for them externally, the declaration committing genocide, plus this falling of this major city. RSF will need to regroup in its struggle against its friend, the Burhan government, who it was in league with until recently. Bandits in Nigeria ambushed and killed 21 government-supported fighters. Convoy of pro-government fighters was returning from a funeral when they came under fire from bandits. And how sad is that? You go to a funeral, you die in a ferry, collapse in the river, or you get shot and killed by rebels. Unbelievable. Sad, sad news. Sad mojo, folks. Not good. Katsina police spokesman Abubakar Sadiq Aliou told the French press news agency on Saturday that a convoy of pro-government fighters returning from paying condolences to the family of a dead colleague when it came under fire from bandits in the village of Baure in the Safana district of northern Nigeria. 21 persons fatally shot as a result of the attack. Good Lord. This will never end in Nigeria. Never end. Chad's ruling party wins a majority in a controversial parliamentary election. Electoral body says President Debe's party secured 124 of the 188 seats in the National Assembly in a vote that was boycotted by the opposition, yet still 64 seats were taken. Wow. That's crazy. The Patriotic Salvation Movement got 124 of the 188 seats in the Assembly. Participation in the election was only 51.5% because opposition parties boycotted. So, Deby will continue his illegitimate rule of Chad. Meanwhile, a controversy in the United States where a Columbia University professor was sacked for her extremist anti-Semitic behavior. And I'll show you the contrast between how one side reports it and how the other's part. So I've got the Jerusalem Post, pro-Israel, and I've got Al Jazeera, anti-anything good. So let's get that. Well, that's the wrong one. Professor accused of harassing Israeli students leaves Columbia University. Columbia University professor Catherine Franke described leaving the university as a termination dressed up in more palatable terms. Well, she got sacked because of her behavior on campus, and they're making her out to be some kind of martyr, some great professor who's done amazing things. I don't know her background, but she does legal studies in gender studies and sexual things. So I'm guessing by her appearance that she's angry. But other people might guess by her appearance or some other things. I'm not guessing that. So Columbia University professor Catherine Franke described leaving the university. Describing leaving as a termination dressed up in more palatable terms, she said agreement had been reached, but claimed the university had become a toxic and hostile environment when it came to issues relating to Israel and Gaza. It is, because of anti-Semitism on campus. Investigations were launched into her after comments were made on the left-leaning media platform Democracy Now! According to the New York Times, Frank claimed that she was concerned about Israeli students arriving at the university immediately after they completed military service, claiming they had been known to harass Palestinian students. Her comments were made after a student sprayed fart spray during a pro-Palestinian protest. I condemn the spraying of pro-Palestinian protesters on our campus and a toxic chemical that was released, such significant injuries that several students were hospitalized from fart spray? I don't think so. Anyway, so she's got herself removed. Now, Al Jazeera is much more friendly and says that this is wrong. A law professor at the university says she was forced to retire over her views critical of Israel's treatment of Palestinians. Effective today, I've reached an agreement with Columbia University, releasing my obligations to teach, participate in faculty governance after serving on the Columbia Law faculty for 25 years, a tenured law professor. Yep. While the university may call this change in my status retirement, it should be more accurately understood as a termination dressed up in more palatable terms. Yeah, okay. Well, Columbia is an anti-Semitic institution based on what is allowed to happen there. So anyway, there you have it. That's differing views. The diary of a dead North Korean soldier is chilling. A North Korean sent to die in the battlefields of Ukraine by its government. Crude stick figure diagram sketched in blue ink details how North Korean soldiers deployed to support Russia and Ukraine should respond to the approach of a Ukrainian drone. One soldier, referred to as bait in the drawing, should stand still to lure the drone so that a pair of comrades can attempt to shoot it down. And in fact, this video here is a little bit shocking. So I'm not going to play any audio. That's a drone, and the soldier just freezes. There's reportedly North Koreans fleeing. Here's one, just freezing in place. North Korean soldiers in Ukraine. Anyway, yeah. So, young soldier who penned the passage. So they found this diary of the dead soldier. Yeah, grisly tactics. Let's say so. Staying as bait is a grisly tactic. They're saying it was divulged in a diary of a slain North Korean soldier on December 21st, with passages containing mundane details of life at the front, descriptions of combat tactics, and expressions of love for North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. According to experts recently made public by Ukraine's Special Operations Forces. Independent experts say the diaries appear genuine and with penmanship, word choice, and expressions of ideological fervor all common in North Korea. The young soldier who penned the passage about the drone died in a firefight alongside two other compatriots. Even at the cost of my life, I will carry out the Supreme Commander's orders without hesitation. That's what indoctrination does to people. They just drink the Kool-Aid. I will show the world the bravery and sacrifice of Kim Jong-un's special forces. There's no bravery, there's no sacrifice, and we don't care as the world. You're gone, you're dead, your life was squandered for nothing. Longing for my homeland, having left the warm embrace of my dear father and mother here on Russian land, I celebrate the birthday of my closest comrade, Sung Ji-mung. So, Sung Ji-mung. If a UAV is spotted, gather in groups of three. One person must act as bait to lure the drone, while the other two take aim and neutralize it with precision shooting. The bait must maintain a distance 7 meters from the drone. The other two should prepare to shoot down the drone from a distance 10 to 12 meters. While the bait stands still, the drone will stop and it can be shot down. And even at the cost of my life. Look at this. This is insane. There's a stick figure illustration. I will show the world the bravery and sacrifice of Kim Jong-un's special forces. What a waste. What a waste. Joe Biden's proxy war is now killing Koreans. Well, the Jeju aircraft crash in Korea, the black box wasn't working. Wow. Jeju air flight recorder stopped working 4 minutes before the plane crashed. The missing data deepens the mystery about what happened. The flight recorder of Jeju Air passenger jet that crashed last month, killing 179, stopped recording for its final 4 minutes. Data extracted from the black box consisting of cockpit voice recorder and flight data recorded is generally crucial investigations. Officials in South Korea who have been working on the United States National Transportation Safety Board have said the flight data for the plane's last 4 minutes would be especially important in this crash. But on Sunday, South Korea's Minister of Land, Infrastructure and Transport said the reasons had not yet been determined. The black box on the 737-800 had stopped working. We plan to investigate. Wow. Jeju Air Flight 7C2216, coming from Bangkok with 181 people on board, was preparing to land at the Maon International Airport in southwestern South Korea at 8:59 a.m. on December 29th when its pilot reported, "Mayday, mayday, mayday, bird strike, bird strike." The pilot also told air traffic control that he was going around, meaning he would abort his first landing and circle in the air to prepare for a second one. But he apparently did not have enough time to make a full circle. Instead, the plane approached the runway from the opposite direction and landed on its belly without its landing gear deployed, seemingly unable to control its speed. It overshot the runway 4 minutes after the Mayday emergency report. So the black box didn't work. Why? What's going on there? Germany has charged 3 people who allegedly passed maritime technology to the Chinese communists. Suspects allegedly obtained information on several critical technologies, including sonar systems, aircraft protection systems, and armored vehicle motors. Botschaft der Volksrepublik China. That's in Germany there. In Berlin. The federal prosecutor's office in Germany said on January 9th that it has charged 3 people for handing over intelligence and technologies to the Chinese communists. The accused, all German nationals who also purchased 3 special lasers from Germany, financed by the Chinese Communist spy top agency. Among the accused, one suspect identified as Thomas R. remains in custody. The other 2, married couple, Herwig and Ina, were arrested in April last year, but were later released when their arrest warrants were suspended. Wow. So 3 Germans have betrayed Germany to the Chinese communists. Well, Trump's talk of buying Greenland has energized the independence movement. What did I say in my video, my analysis a couple days ago? I said that Trump talking about this is likely to spur the independence movement to break away from Denmark. Well, I'd be correct in that prediction for this year. Many in the Danish territory don't want to sell to the U.S., but they're open to the idea of a closer relationship. Well, of course they are. Love to have a close relationship with us. Jørgen Bossen, a 50-year-old bricklayer and Trump admirer, was at the airport in Greenland's capital, Nuuk, this week, wearing a MAGA hat to cheer the arrival of Trump Force One. But we were told by the leftists that it was all staged, that they grabbed homeless people from underneath bridges. Homeless people in Greenland. Okay, sure. Yeah, it's minus 12 degrees and there's homeless hanging around. Yeah, and they're all wearing nice kit, boots, parkas, and MAGA hats. The MAGA hats were given to them by Charlie Kirk, of course. But yeah, we were lied to by the left once again. But Bossen, who helped organize the event from Trump, says he has no interest in President-elect Trump's entreaties to buy the icebound island. We can't be sold. Instead, he wants to further Greenland's push for independence, and to that end, Trump's interventions are proving unexpectedly useful. There you go. Like many independence movements, the Greenlandic campaign is butting up against uncertainty over what happens next when freedom is secured. The Danish government has said that if Greenland became independent, it would stop sending $600 million in annual handouts, half the island's budget, raising doubts about how the new nation would fund itself. But the independence movement now has gotten some legs, courtesy of Donald Trump talking about it. There you go. Canada is preparing for retaliatory tariffs after Trump's threats. Let me just send a little message here to Canada. Bring it on. You want to collapse the world's second largest trading bloc? Go ahead and do it. We don't need your cars from Ontario. We'll import them from Japan. We'll get them from Mexico. We don't need your maple syrup. We'll put butter on our pancakes. We don't need your oil. You won't be able to sell it to us. You won't be able to sell it to anybody. You're going to ship it over the Rockies to Vancouver and put it in a tanker and ship it to China. More power to you. Bring it on, Canada. Trump has threatened to impose 25% tariffs, and the Canadians are getting ready to impose their own tariffs. Canadian cabinet ministers discussed yesterday, or 2 days ago, how they could best retaliate if the U.S. government imposes tariffs on imports from Canada. Speaking to reporters early on Thursday, the foreign minister, Melanie Joly, said that Canadians should take Trump's threat seriously and prepare for the possibility of an economic fallout between the two nations. This is something that not only I'm very concerned about, but we have to be extremely ready because the threat of tariffs is real. At the same time, we can't take the bait and think that we're extremely strong as a country. I think our economy is strong. I think our people are strong, and I think we'll never back down. Well, good luck with that, Canada. Impose your tariffs. Bring it on. See how long you survive. Canada will collapse if it puts tariffs in the United States. You think Smoot-Hawley was bad. The Los Angeles fire conditions are not improving, ladies and gentlemen. They are worsening as the death toll is expected to rise. Firefighters made progress against deadly fires, but the death toll has risen. The Eaton fire in Altadena and the Pasadena were 15% contained, nearly a week into it, while the Palisades fire grew to over 23,000 acres and the homes were threatened in Brentwood, which, of course, is famously where O.J. Simpson murdered Nicole Simpson. We was accused of that. Yeah. All right. So crews are battling the fire. Los Angeles fire death toll has risen to confirm 16 as authorities expand evacuations and brace for windy days ahead. The Palisades fire has grown beyond 23,600 acres, and the Eaton fire is now more than 14,000 acres. 5 deaths were caused by the fire in Pacific Palisades, and 11 others were caused by the Eaton fire. My goodness. On Saturday night, light breezes were fanning the northeast expansion of the Palisades fire into Mandeville Canyon, where new evacuations were ordered. Mandeville Canyon is home to Arnold Schwarzenegger and other celebrities. Speaking just at a press conference on January 11th, Todd Hopkins, incident commander of the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, said preliminary estimates indicate approximately 5,300 structures have been destroyed in the Palisades fire, including 426 homes. Other damaged structures may include vehicles, sheds, and other outbuildings. More than 105,000 residents of Palisades have been evacuated. Mexico and Canada both sent firefighters, but it's a token number. We could use hundreds more. Deployments come days after or before the inauguration of President Trump. And there's Claudia Scheinbaum. Mexico and Canada are sending firefighters and equipment to help battle the blazes scorching Southern California, expression of solidarity, according to their leaders. And recognition of the assistance of the United States extends to its neighbors in times of need. Deployments come days before Trump becomes president. Mexico's President Claudia Scheinbaum said Saturday a team of firefighters was on its way to Los Angeles. So, meanwhile, Canada sent 40 firefighters from Alberta. Yeah, that's where Tony Nage is at. British Columbia is sending a team of technical staff at the request of California's fire agency. Also, they sent 2 more fire bombers. There were 2 already on duty from Canada. They've sent 2 more down. Part of eastern Malibu is gone, the mayor says, as the Palisades fire rages. A third of eastern Malibu has been destroyed by the blaze, including the communities of Big Rock and Carbon Mesa and the famed stretch of Pacific Coast Highway. That's Malibu. Good God. That's insane. Palisades fires decimated Malibu, destroying around a third of the coastal city's eastern flank and much of the picturesque stretch of Pacific Coast Highway. What you see is extraordinary, says Jackie Irwin, a member of the California State Assembly. It's nothing like I've ever seen before. Entire segments of the city remained without power, water, gas, or communications. The Palisades fire, the largest of the wildfires ravaging Southern California, has ripped through the dense residential areas. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen, dense residential areas. That's what I've been saying all along. Dense residential areas. Human hubris. This place needs to be cleared. These people need to sell their land, and it needs to be turned back into nature. This is ridiculous. All these people living in these places they shouldn't be living. By Sunday, it burned through 23,600 acres. It has hit us hard, said the mayor, Doug Stewart. Malibu has lost approximately one-third of its eastern edge. Wow, they're gone. The Department of Justice has confirmed that illegally appointed, unconstitutionally instigated investigation, Jack Smith, he's gone. Jack Smith has resigned. Federal law requires special counsels to prepare the final report outlining the prosecution decisions and submit it to the Attorney General. Unfortunately, his appointment was illegal, and his report is illegitimate. So we don't really care what the special counsel has to say. Jack Smith should be investigated for his malicious prosecution of Donald Trump and his illegal appointment by Merrick Garland's Department of Justice. Trump calls the officials handling Los Angeles wildfires incompetent. Governor Newsom and LA County authorities invited Trump to tour the devastation, but he's not publicly responded. The fires are still raging in Los Angeles. He wrote on Truth Social, the incompetent politicians have no idea how to put them out. Trump comments indicated that fires and official response to them will likely occupy a prominent place in his domestic political agenda when he takes office on January 20th. Mayor Karen Bass of LA had to contend with questions about whether there was adequate warning about the likelihood of devastating fires and why there was a shortage of water. At a news conference Thursday, she avoided a question about her absence from the city. Yep. Mr. Newsom, the Democrat governor, has fended off criticism from Trump, who blamed him for the failure to contain fires and claimed he had blocked an infusion of water to Southern California over concerns about how it would affect the threatened fish species, which is true. It's not a claim, it's a fact. Well, the Biden administration striking out in anger and now with no consequences to Biden's administration or his legacy is finally imposing additional sanctions on the Russian oil industry, which he's avoided for nearly 3 years. The White House, now unconcerned about the effect on gas prices and inflation because they'll leave that mess for Trump, has blacklisted 2 of Russia's biggest oil producers and nearly 200 tanker ships. Well, that ought to put a dent in the world supply of oil. The Biden administration delivered a parting blow to the Russian economy on Friday, targeting two of its largest oil companies, 183 tankers, and what a senior official called the most significant sanctions yet against the Russian energy sector, the largest source of revenue for the Kremlin's war machine. Now, here's the problem. Why weren't these sanctions applied in February of 2022? Because Biden wasn't serious about ending the war. Because the Ukraine war provided Joe Biden an opportunity to cover up his crimes in Ukraine and China with distracting the world. And it gave him an opportunity to flood Ukraine with weapons to clean out America's arsenal and weaken the United States. That's why. These sanctions, if they're going to use them, should have been imposed in 2022. He does it days before he leaves office so that it cripples the Trump administration, or Trump is forced to rescind them, and then he looks like a pro-Putin stooge. That's what he's done. Joe Biden has set Trump up to look like a pro-Putin stooge. Watch this channel 1 month from now. We're talking about how Donald Trump is being criticized because he's rescinded or eased these restrictions, which should have been imposed 3 years ago. Yep. Leinster won. Okay. Yes, the mayor did. The city of Los Angeles 3 years ago, 2021, sent firefighting equipment to Ukraine. They claimed it was excess, and now they don't have enough firefighting. 13 hearings in the Senate this week to confirm Trump nominees. Back-to-back hearings are likely to prove the first major test of Trump's second term, if Republicans get in line or not. More than a dozen President-elect Trump's cabinet nominees will face confirmation hearings next week. Republican Party currently maintains a slim lead, 53 to 48, and two independents who caucus with the Democrats. So it's really 53 to 47. Pete Hegseth will be among the nominees for Defense Secretary. Doug Burgum, Secretary of the Interior. Doug Collins, Secretary of the Veterans Affairs. Marco Rubio for Secretary of State. Kristi Noem, Secretary of Homeland Security. Pam Bondi, Attorney General. John Ratcliffe, Director of the CIA. Chris Wright, Secretary of Energy. Russ Vought, Director of the Office of Budget Management. Sean Duffy, Secretary of Transportation. Scott Bessent, Secretary of the Treasury. That's one I'm not happy about. Lee Zeldin, Director or Administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency. Scott Turner, Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. That's a lot, and that's just the start of it. So many more coming after that. All right, so Mark Zuckerberg is ripping Joe Biden for making him censor us. Yeah. Zuckerberg rips Biden for pressuring Facebook to remove COVID-19 vaccine post. Zuckerberg further distanced himself from the Biden administration during an appearance on Joe Rogan, where he accused the administration officials of screaming to have content taken down. He said his company is willing to give a little bit of deference to the government and health authorities on what to do, but he said eventually the White House officials became more hostile on Facebook in their pursuit of having posts removed. I mean, basically, these people from Biden administration would call up our team and scream at them and curse it's like these documents are kind of out there. They want us to take down this meme of Leonardo DiCaprio looking at a TV talking about how 10 years from now or something, you're going to see an ad that says, okay, if you took COVID vaccine, you're eligible for this kind of payment. Like sort of class action lawsuit, he said. And they're like, no, you have to take it down. We said, no, we're not going to take down humor and satire. We're not going to take down things that are true. But you did. Zuckerberg, and you should be prosecuted for violating the Constitution. Not because it's illegal for you to violate the Constitution, you're a private company, but because you worked in league with people committing criminal acts in the federal government in violation of our Constitution, our First Amendment rights to freedom of speech. You were an agent of the government, therefore you are guilty of committing the crime by becoming an agent of the execution for the corrupt government which silenced American speech. And look at the damage you did to my channel. People are just now finally finding my channel 4 years later. You, Zuckerberg, are a criminal. You are a violent criminal who caused the deaths of countless people with your garbage on Facebook. You are an accomplice. You are an agent of the federal government. Therefore, you must be prosecuted along with them. Well, it's a miracle, says James Woods. His home miraculously survived. If you look on Twitter and look at James Woods' account, it's amazing. His home barely survived. It's undamaged. James Woods posts on Twitter that his house survived the LA wildfires in Pacific Palisades. A miracle has happened. We managed to get to our property, and our home that we were told is gone forever is still standing. In this hellish landscape, standing is relative, but smoke and other damage is not like the utter destruction around us. Yep. James Wood's house survives. That's amazing, folks. Absolutely amazing. Congratulations, James Wood. All right, how are we doing over here? We still got 100 people. We got 100 exactly. Sure to hit the like button, folks. 104 if you've done it already. No super chats. The bell is silent. The bell is silent. For whom the bell tolls? Nobody. There's no super chats. All right. And any likes? How we got the likes we got there? 17 minutes, 55 seconds. All right. California will turn red. It should. It should. All right. Let me get back here and read some of the chat that people put up in here because there's a lot of chat. I missed some of it. Whoa. Let me go back a ways here. And there's a super chat from Erica. Erica. That's very kind of you, Erica. Didn't know you were still here. All right. Per capita, there's less gun violence in America than in South Africa. South Africa is one of the most violent countries in the world. That's correct, Neville. Per capita, way less violence. Yep. But still, any death is not good. So how about Prime Minister Tate? I've been shot in my face at the farm. Are you serious? I didn't know that, George. That is horrific. Unbelievable. I hope you got him back. Don't answer that, George. Don't answer that. If Kaylee thinks that's a luxury yacht, come to the marina in Miami. Agreed, Arctic. Go to Newport. Go to Annapolis. I took Aunt Ritz and Aunt Funsail to Annapolis, and we saw the marina in Annapolis. That's not a luxury yacht. And scientist says she'll be allowed to take any transport he wants. How much booze was on the boat? Hippo Ramaphosa got no balls. Arctic says he can't fire him. He's still the only top ANC 6 that support or want. Yeah, you're right. And then because the media is behind the ANC, well, probably. Meerkat says, taxpayer, I don't want to know how much that yacht cost me. I didn't approve him using that means transport. No, he got it from some corrupt tenderpreneur who provided it for him. So they get corrupt contracts, which they fleece money from the government, don't deliver services or deliver substandard services, and then they use that money to buy these mansions. So Paul Mashatili's son-in-law can provide him with a mansion in Western Cape free of charge, and then they buy yachts and things like this, and they allow the ANC to use them. So that's where the corruption comes in. I've been stabbed, assaulted, hijacked, but got away, burgled, robbed, car stolen. The list continues. Well, Richard, that's South Africa, man. Year of renewal. Sorry to hear that. Okay, every year the Ron Post talks about renewal, but they never do. Exactly. They'll never report how the ANC destroys our children's future, how they literally let them die because they steal from them. Yep. Dumb as a box of rocks. Agree. As far as I'm concerned, he could have practiced some open water swimming. Meerkat, that's interesting. He could have done like the English Channel swim across to Robben Island. ANC's put the election behind it. It's predicted will double down on NDR, NHI, and EWC. Yep, that's saying deep crap, but at least some GNU peeps will have government pensions for life. Yes, they will. By the way, I did have a request into get an interview with John Steenhuisen. And that was on the 8th. It's now the 12th, 4 days later, and I've not heard any response back. Now, his media person was polite, responded to me right away. Also sent her a copy of the video in which I was very fair to the DA when the questions were raised before we had all the facts. And I asked for an interview with John Steenhuisen 4 days on. Now, he was traveling outside the country, so maybe I'll wait to this next week. I get to the middle of the week. If I haven't heard back, then I'll write back and ask what's the status. Leroy Huff says, you got to be a quick listener around here. Oh, yeah, we jump from place to place. I'll slow down a little bit. Okay. Whilst Trump is buying up territory such as Greenland, South Africa hasn't allowed an independent Cape. Freedom for Post need to introduce the El Salvador bill. South Africa will always stay behind. Greenland will be bought. I don't know about that, Pablo. Christo Els, I've been robbed 3 times already. Good Lord. The El Salvador bill. Everyone in prison. Get rid of BEE, improve education, encourage investment, more jobs. Yeah, well, and Nicklin have deterrence to crime. Arrest, process evidence, capture suspects, prosecute them, and imprison criminals. Real imprisonment. Yep. Richard talking about hemp. In South Africa, an estimated 925 children were out of school in 2020. It's a critical issue to affect the nation's future. Yes. Yep, and it's criminalized parents. So they're going to criminalize parents and put them in jail, which isn't going to improve the situation. Every year, countless children in South Africa will fall victim to sex trafficking. Oh, in America, too. Next election, MK. Hardly any rain in P. Water. Crystal, I don't understand that. No rain in P, but Gauteng and KZN are just swamped with rain. Declan says they're seeding clouds. Okay, Savage Daughter's here. How you doing? Mozambique is firing up again. Well, people are talking about it, that's for sure. Mr. Big does it rest in peace for something. Was that for the queen, the Khoisan queen? Okay, I think you'll find a lot more fractures if you send ANC MPs for brain scans. RJ says, may her soul rest in peace. 21,000 says Mr. Big. Yeah, we hit 21,000 subscribers last night or yesterday while I was online doing the rugby broadcast. So we got 2 out of 5 in rugby this week. Got Stormers and Cheetahs. Still wearing the Cheetahs kit here. Got the Champions Cup or Challenge Cup right there. Anyway, so, yep. That's one, I think, courtesy of Chris Murray. Thank you, Chris Murray. Don't know what I missed. Your mom. I hope she's okay there, Neville. And Chris Ayler says they're supposed to run a rehab but got caught abusing people. What else we got here? Brian Lawrenson says, Graham Fitzgerald, National President, Mad Dogs. Brother, you will be remembered. I'm not familiar with Graham Fitzgerald, but rest in peace. Leroy Huff, Pablo Charlie, the fintech companies have a transaction system that even the poor can participate in. 3 to 5 second settlement, almost zero fees. Their cell phone will become their bank. Yeah, Leroy, that's been the story for 15 years. That's been the story for 15 years. M-Pesa. We've talked about this, but the fees are exorbitant. The phone companies rip people off left and right, and the banks do the same thing. M-Pesa was pioneered in Kenya and Tanzania, in East Africa, and found its way to Southern Africa. And it's whatever you want to call M-Pesa, but it's that's the scheme originally. It's ridiculously expensive and it's horrific. But most people don't notice it. They transfer $2 and they take 20 cents. And they're like, oh, it's 20 cents. Well, it's 10%, but they don't realize that. If they sent $200 and they saw $40 taken, they'd be like, what the hell? Now they pay attention. Holden Caulfield, the weapons from Benghazi also moved south. And yeah, they did. And we wanted to talk about that. No, not the fart spray. It was the fart spray. South African gun laws in recent years had the sole purpose of disarming the only threat. Yep, exactly. That's the same thing in Australia and the United Kingdom. The gun laws are meant to disarm law-abiding citizens and put them in jeopardy, and that's what they've accomplished. It's better to die a slave in North Korea or die a freeman in Ukraine. Well, neither one's good. Okay, EMP. What about, hey, Stinky the Squid, welcome. What about EMP? Electromagnetic pulse? Okay. And we got 108 likes now. That's good. But we're down to 87. People disappeared after this. Or they went over to the Ronaldo Meister. Is that where they went? Let me see if he's up and running. YouTube. Let me see how he's doing. If he's got people over there right now. Come on, YouTube, a little faster. Yeah, there's people over there. All right, so Pierre Polivier will stop all the threats. Oh, the conservative guy, we'll see. F. Justin Trudeau says, Mr. Big. Another Canadian. Hey, welcome, eh? So, all right, their insurance was canceled. Leroy Huff, are you talking about in California? In California, State Farm apparently canceled the insurance policy of a number of people in Pacific Palisades 6 months ago. So that's unfortunate. The Californians voted for it. Yep, they got what they deserve. And we got Joe Biden. Apparently, supposedly 81 million morons in America voted for Joe Biden as he destroyed America. And the same thing with Barack Obama. He was returned to office despite a terrible first term. Firefighters, no, the firefighters don't have it under control. Colton says, makes you wonder how many terrorists were trained in Irregular Warfare Center in Arizona. What Irregular Warfare Center in Arizona? What are you talking about, Holden Caulfield? Where? Fort Huachuca? What Irregular Warfare Center? I've been stationed at Fort Huachuca multiple times. I'm an Army intelligence officer. So what are you talking about there, Holden? Tell me about that. Firefighters were using ladies' purses. No, they weren't. No. That's not true. Firefighters were not using ladies' purses. That's a misnomer. People took pictures of that. The firefighters have small sacks which are treated so that they hold the water that can be used to douse small flames like that, rather than hook up a hose and put it out there. So, anyway, that's been disproven already. Peter Cilliers says, "I understand the mayor of San Fire." Yes, the city did. Still blows my mind that Biden is still the president right now. Yeah, it does, PK, but it'll end shortly. Trans man's burst. It wasn't that. Still don't trust Zuckerberg. Neither do I, Mr. Big. Neither do I. Peter says, Chris Wyatt, U.S. Ambassador to South Africa. Well, someone's got to make my name known to Trump, and I'm not a billionaire. He tends to appoint wealthy people to do that. It's a political appointment. I'd love to do it. I'd love to be hired as an advisor to the State Department, but I don't think it's going to happen. Don't trust Zuckerberg. He's just trying to get new clients. Yeah, exactly. I really like the orange. You mean of this, the Cheetahs jersey? It's a Cheetahs jersey. That's what I'm wearing. It's a Cheetahs jersey. I just covered a game just before it came on air, so on the other channel, Rugby Ascendant. The company Morgan 6. Oh, Morgan. Okay, some company. Okay, I thought you were implying the U.S. government did it. Yep, not familiar with that. Cannot get that out. It won't come out. Brought in all animals because of smoke. At least it's windy. In Arizona, you're getting the smoke from California. Wow, it's not that far away. So Germany is seeking to, what's this? Gun permits. Rescind AFD members. Oh, unbelievable. Okay, thank you for sharing that. Let me look them up real quick. So Morgan 6. Okay. Small business and provides service to U.S. government, specialized military and intelligence-related fields. Range of service including management, software engineering, training, technical services. It's a veteran established company. Board of advisors include Brigadier General Chris Burns, U.S. Army retired, and Colonel John Campbell, U.S. Army retired. Morgan 6, Warriors first. Maybe there's some employment for me there. Just kidding. Innovation, intelligence, operations, and development. Okay, Morgan 6. Okay, what was the other one you said? Valens Global. That one sounds familiar. Valens Global. Valens Global. International Strategy and Security Services. They're on LinkedIn. Analysis Hub, Simulations Hub, Government Talent Optimization Hub, Cyber Threats Hub. I don't like their website very much. All right, so they're on LinkedIn. Sorry. Okay, so needs a big little blue though. I have my team hoodie on. Big game shortly. Which game is that, Mr. Big? And 15-year-old story is getting closer to fruition. Ripple getting adoption after a decade of preparation. Stellar put on. I don't know idea what you're talking about, Leroy. He raises good topics, but also think there's a lot that he uses to distract people from the H-1B visa. So he is diverting another topic to take the heat off. Huh? Are you talking about me, PK? Are you talking about me? Distract people from H-1? Are you talking about me? Oh, the Broncos. The Broncos. Okay. Yeah, well, I'm not an NFL fan anymore ever since Colin Kaepernick. Okay, you're not talking about BPA. Who is distracting then? Elon. Oh, Elon. Yeah. Oh, yeah, he does. He does. Yeah, 100%. No, I talk. Look, I mean, Michael asked me about H-1B visa question. I answered like 4 or 5 questions from Michael Holmes today. I really entertained a lot of stuff from him, but they were apropos questions. Kind of interrupted the news broadcast, but I did that because he asked good questions. So, yeah. My grandmother was Joan Musk until she married my grandfather. Okay. Interesting. I'd never heard their surname before, Elon Musk. So that was news to me. I've heard Elon before. Elon Gold is an actor here in America, so I'm familiar with that name. It's actually one usually associated with Jews. I didn't even know. I didn't know that Musk wasn't Jewish. Michael Holmes said, I listened to Ruben Brigady, and he just said his only job is to emphasize American interest. Well, I didn't see the whole interview. I didn't even see the interview. I don't know what he said, but I would say that either that's not in context or it's a misstatement on his part. Let me explain what I mean by that. So Ambassador Brigady, full disclosure, I was his military advisor at the U.S. mission to the African Union. I worked for him as an ambassador. He is a former Navy submariner who didn't get through the submarine course and was reassigned. But Ambassador Brigady, a Navy veteran, went to Annapolis, and he was celebrated because he was black and articulate, and they loved him because of that. And so still remembered fondly because he's your token black guy for some of these admirals. They loved him for that. But Brigady's a very smart guy, very intelligent, very political, and he was my boss in Addis Ababa. So interesting full disclosure there. So if Ruben Brigady said his only mission is to emphasize American interest, that may be true in a general sense, but the purpose of ambassadors is to represent the direct representative of the President of the United States. That's their job. So their job is to represent the President of the United States. We had ambassadors that undermined President Trump in Ukraine, and they should have been fired, and they were. And then they tried to cry for, you're being discriminated against because I'm a woman. Nope. It's because you violated the trust of the President of the United States. Your job is to represent the President of the United States. His job is to represent American interests. Your job as a ambassador goes beyond that. In order to fulfill represent the President and American interests, your job as ambassador are to advance American economic and political interests, and when necessary, our security interests, which don't always include the military. We have security interests. For instance, we have the International Law Enforcement Academy, ILEA, located in Botswana. That's there to train African officers in international standards and norms for law enforcement, for forensics, for prosecution, for investigations, for combating crime. And that is in our security interest. And so we do that. We also, do military training and provide equipment. So that's the role of an ambassador, is to advance those security interests. The role of an ambassador is to advance U.S. economic interests. The role of an ambassador is to advance U.S. cultural interests, and all of these things. That's the role. So it's not as simple as just American interests. Our role is to facilitate assistance to our partners, friends, partners, and allies when and where appropriate. So if, for instance, Ghana needs a loan in order to build a critical port facility and they're having trouble getting it, the United States, if they desire Ghana to build that, so it will facilitate trade, which will ultimately help the region, which would benefit the U.S. for peace and security, or maybe even help us directly, then we may intercede on their behalf with the African Development Bank or the International Monetary Fund or the World Bank to try to help them get that loan, and the ambassador can play a role in that. So it's much broader than just American interests. I think that's just a general statement that may be taken out of context. The training of individuals in regular warfare in U.S. soil sounds nefarious. Not at all. Not at all. Special Forces, Navy, SEALs, Army, Delta Force, Air Force Special Forces, Marine Special Forces, these are all people trained in regular warfare. U.S. military are trained in regular warfare. We don't train on a regular warfare in the Congo. We train in California, in Arizona, in North Carolina, in Texas. That's where we train. Are you talking about private citizens getting irregular warfare training? That's a problem. Yep. So, Michael, can you clarify that point or explain better? Okay, there you just did. Okay. Elon is very smart and is trying to help, but mistakes. He does make mistakes because he's got hubris and he's arrogant. He thinks he knows everything because he's so wealthy and he's so successful, but he doesn't. He doesn't. His stance on H-1B visas and his depiction of Americans as lazy is not helpful and far from accurate. Everyone's painting the country, America, as if, we're only successful because of immigrants and only because of people. That's horse manure. That's horse manure. America is strong because we've had immigrants who've come here who've become American and then contributed. But it's also strong because Native Americans. You name one immigrant who became president. Not one, because immigrants can't become presidents. I just remembered, Chris, what's up with the astronauts? They're still stuck up there. They're at the International Space Station. Those guys, they're going to run out of tang here shortly. He looked at it from the lens of this interest as ambassador is not to do things in the interest of respective country. It's American interest. I don't think, well, I have to hear what you have to say, but I mean, the way you've represented it, or you've presented it, I wouldn't agree if he said that. Look, we have, okay, this is why we have embassies. Let me explain why we have embassies, folks. I mean, it should be self-evident, people, but let me make it clear. We don't have embassies just to kiss and be friendly with friends. Embassies exist to reduce tensions. And how do you do that? Through direct interaction, to share the position of your country. You're the envoy for the United States in Moscow. You go to Putin and say, this is what the president wants, this is what we're doing. That's the primary reason for it. In the modern world, because of international travel, embassies also have consulates, and consulates exist to provide services, consular services for their citizens. So if you're robbed and your passport's gone, they can get you a temporary passport. If you need assistance because you've been illegally detained, they can intercede on your behalf and see what they can do. Things like that. So the consulate provides services. Visas for people who want to visit our country, they're not nationals. That's the purpose. So the embassy is there to reduce tensions. But the way do you reduce tensions? Do you know how you reduce tensions? Do you know? Other than talking directly to the host nation with overt spying. Overt spying. That's what embassies do. The South African embassy in Germany spies on Germany. Yep. Whoop. The German embassy in South Africa in Hatfield spies on South Africa. Now, that doesn't mean that they've got guys with trench coats and Walther PPKs walking around looking at defense bases going, no, that's not what the spying is. It's overt spying. It's acknowledged. You meet, you talk, you exchange information, and then you share that with your home nation so that they're better informed. And it can be a very useful tool. If you want to reduce tensions because of misperceptions, you call the envoy in, you speak to the envoy, and you tell them what you're really doing. It's overt spying. It's accepted. It's the norm. Yep. America's strong because they designed to be so. Yep, this is not happening. Yeah, exactly. The founding fathers set us up in good shape. Mr. Big says, my test failed. It says I'm a member. I can see perks, but doesn't show in the chat. Huh? Mr. Big, you're a member? I'll go look. I can see if you're a member, if you've joined recently. Earnings. Hang on a second here. Let's go to memberships. Got about 150 members. See your members. Here we go. Okay. I don't see you as a member. Nick Groves, Hamish, Herodotus, Joanna, Smee, Nikki. I don't see you on here, man. Not in the last 10 days. Not listed as a member in the last 10 days. Sorry. I don't know what happened there. Anyway. Might talk to YouTube about that. Because you get the icon next to your name, plus you get to use the custom emojis. To me, Ruben Briggity seems so pro-American. That Simonstown thing was sad because I know U.S. is trying to intimidate the country. For me, U.S. seems a bit bullish. Well, okay, Michael. So what would you expect Ruben Briggity to be? Ruben Briggity, even though he's a Democrat and left the political center, is actually doing what the ambassador's supposed to. You're supposed to promote your country. You're supposed to be pro-America, not that scumbag wench that was in Ukraine who was anti-American and undermined the Trump administration. That's not what your job is. That is not your job, is to represent the President of the United States. So Ruben Briggity did his job. Now, the Simonstown thing was an attempt to intimidate South Africa. Perhaps, but it's also true. He didn't make it up. And the bullshit investigation, the whitewash investigation that the Ramaphosa regime put in place isn't even believable. He says, Mike says, for me, it seems U.S. is a bit bullish. A bit bullish or a bit bullying? Is the U.S. under the Biden regime trying to bully South Africa? Possibly. But if they wanted to bully South Africa, they should have put them on notice that you will be suspended from AGOA. That would be bullying. But it's legitimate bullying because South Africa has violated the terms of the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act. Shouldn't be a part of it. You should not have duty-free access to our marketplace. Your goods and services shouldn't be flooding our market with no taxes. Shouldn't happen. Shouldn't happen. Because South Africa has violated the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act qualifying standards. You must recognize and protect property rights. South Africa doesn't do that. Doesn't do that. The introduction of expropriation without compensation instantly disqualified South Africa. And that's as far as we need to go on that. They want to play the Lady R thing, they can do that. South Africa has repeatedly undermined U.S. national security interests. Now, they're not obliged to do anything. The ANC is not obliged to vote in the UN the way the U.S. wants, but we're not obliged to give you special privileges when you don't play along and be a team player. When you undermine our national security, you shouldn't get benefits. That's stupid. And I hope Trump kicks South Africa out of AGOA to send the ANC a message. Boy, that'll get me some viewers on the channel because people will be screaming about that. But I hope they do. It doesn't have to be long-term. It can just be short-term to get the message across. I mean, South Africa plays unfair. The South African poultry industry is highly unproductive compared to U.S. poultry industry because we have scale. It's 300 million people. We got poultry farms the size of frickin' Cape Town. I'm embellishing slightly. But we can process chicken, freeze it, ship it to South Africa, and deliver it to consumers in South Africa, higher quality, consistently, reliably, and less expensive than South African poultry. Now, is that fair? Sure, in the scheme of things. It's unfortunate for South African producers, so what did the South African government do? 75% tariff. You get duty-free access to our marketplace, and you're putting tariffs on our goods and services? We didn't attack your country. We didn't cut off your oil supply, and you put tariffs on our country. That's not fair. South Africa should have been disqualified for the tariffs that they put on poultry. Done and dusted, finished and clear. Should have happened a long time ago. We are the fools, allowing 38 African countries, half of which aren't even qualified for AGOA, to get duty-free access to the U.S. market. Why? For political purposes, to help these countries' economies grow. But we're the evil white empire. Oh, yeah, bullshit. Total bullshit. Victoria Newland. Oof. Oh, let's not go talk about her. Mr. Biggs using second channel. Okay. America is strong because we don't get the membership on all your channels. You only get it on one. I mean, like when I was on Rugby Ascendant yesterday, Ronaldo was live. I wanted to comment, but I couldn't because the members only stream. And my Rugby Ascendant is not a member. Just my original channel is a paying member of Ronaldo's channel. So I couldn't comment. I couldn't get in there. So because I'm not a paying member under that username. It only affects the username you pay for. 8 days until Sleepy Joe is gone. That's right, folks. 8 days. Yep. Which has better business regulations, Europe or the U.S.? In general, Pablo, Charlie, the U.S. is much better business because the European Union has superseded much of the business regulation in individual countries and ruined it. The EU's common agricultural policy is a disaster. It destroys farms and it makes goods prohibitively expensive. Our government sells us the highest bidder. Everything is broken. We are not a threat to first world. No, you're not. Oh, okay, that's why. Bruce Orr, yeah, no doubt. Handouts to struggling African countries is half the cause of struggles. Exactly, Smee. Exactly right. Joe was a rogue president. All right, so where are we at here? Got 80 people here, and I got something to show you guys. Let me find it here real quick. We've done this before, but I'm going to do it again. I've already forgotten the lyrics, so hopefully I don't screw it up. And come on. Get these files in the right order. I got so many files in here, I got to start taking stuff off this computer. Okay, where's it at? Where are you hiding at? Come on, I know you're here somewhere. That's not, there it is. I think it's time to do this, folks. I think it's time to do this. It's time for this once again. All right, you guys ready for this? There's only a few days to go before Joe is gone. Only a few days to go before Joe is gone. You ready for this, folks? Here we go. We won't get a copyright strike, but we'll have to take it down because there'll be a copyright claim. But that's okay. We're happy to do a copyright claim. All right, here we go. Tom McDonald's best song ever, folks. Hands down. He's had some wild ones, some crazy ones, but that is his best song ever. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Yes. Yep. Say goodbye to Joe. Wave goodbye to Joe, folks. We will be waving goodbye to Joe very soon. Our national nightmare is coming to an end. Just 8 days away. On the censorship regime at Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp. Well, they don't really censor you there, but I think they are actually breaking the encryption there. But it's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. We'll all be put on notice. We'll all be put on notice. Exactly. Regulate, permit, tax, and send money to the laundry. Yeah, exactly. That's what they do. They take it all from us. So, Mr. Big, okay, I got you. I don't know why it's not showing up in here. Membership? I don't know. That's unfortunate. But what I love about this song best is he's Canadian. Tom McDonald is a Canadian immigrant to America. Of course, his ancestors, who knows, they're probably from America. They might have been Tories that went up there. I don't know. But Tom McDonald's a Canadian import, and he sings that song. Some of our best, most patriotic Americans are recent immigrants who came to this country to escape persecution legitimately, who came to this country to seek economic opportunity legitimately, who came to this country and followed our mores, laws, and norms and accepted who we were, became part of who we are, didn't try to come here and make us adhere to Sharia, didn't come here and make us slice the clitoris and labia off of our prepubescent children for a bizarre, barbaric culture tradition, didn't come here and force us to learn Spanish, didn't come here and force us to learn French, didn't come here and force us to learn other things. They came and accepted our norms and added their unique cultural diversity to our kaleidoscope that is the American tapestry. Those are people who are welcome in our country, whether you're Sikh, you're Afrikaner, you're Xhosa, you're Yoruba, you're French Canadian, you are Indian. It doesn't matter. You are welcome here. We welcome you in absorbable numbers to be part of our team. It is our strength that we are so welcoming to people who are different, who are willing to become part of us and add their unique aspects to it. But if you come here and seek to change this country into the dirtbag collapse society you escaped from in Somalia or in Ukraine or Russia or South Africa, we will not change for you. Those days are over. The left is in retreat, and we shall ensure that they stay in retreat. Thank you very much. There you go. If the U.S. ambassador to South Africa, what would be the 3 things you would suggest President Trump include? Number one, suspend South Africa from the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act. If they're unwilling to change, meet with them privately, meet with Ramaphosa, and tell them, I have a message from President Trump. If the expropriation without compensation is not withdrawn and disavowed by the government of national unity within 30 days, you will be suspended from the Africa Growth and Property Act, and we will do it with big fanfare and press. And we'll talk about you undermined our national security, our economic interests, and you failed to follow the basic principles of the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act. That would be my first mission. First mission right out of the gate. There you go. Number 1. Done and dusted. Number 2, reform of our policies in South Africa. And I would start doing a media blitz to let South Africans know that you're not dying. You're not dying from HIV-related illnesses because of us, not because of the ANC. We ensured you had antiretrovirals. We're the ones who give hundreds of millions of dollars to subsidize your survival. And you should know that. And you should be grateful for that. That would be mission 2. Stop being so shy about what America does positive for the world. Start telling people what we're doing. Not propaganda like the Chinese do, but just simply tell the truth. Number 3. Number 3. I would work very closely with the South African government to help it secure its borders and improve its decrepit military. Number 3. Permits, recent changes. Oh, yeah, well, we're not going to be able to push for the domestic change. We're not going to be able to get rid of BE. That's not, South Africans have to do that. South Africans have to. Shawnee, when did you tune in? Did you hear me sing with Tom McDonald? My terrible singing voice? Although that's a song I can do. I keep forgetting the lyrics here and there. Tom McDonald. Dave at Digital Outlook, who just took the Pledge of Allegiance, immigrating from Canada. Dave at Digital Outlook. Okay, let me look him up. And African Idiot just gave a super chat. That looks like a big one too. Cool, ringing in. Oh, the bell works. We got the bell working there. Dave at Digital. Dave at Digital. What's that? Come on, Digital Outlook. Dave, Digital Outlook. Coaching program. Digital Outlook, YouTube. 42,000 followers? Is that the guy? Does it look like this? Is that it? Don't know him. Got a lot more subscribers than I do, but he had fewer views than I do on a lot of things. Is that the guy? Anyway. Tom McDonald. Hey, there's Sedgefield. Welcome to you. Thank you, African Idiot, for 350 Rand. Number 4, foot-sec. To me? What's the foot-sec? What's the foot-sec for? Number 1, great. Number 2, okay. Number 3, greatest. Number 2, okay. Number 3, the greatest. Okay. Blame is just another cause of bite the hand that feeds you. Yep, Minnesota's having a drama. Democrats don't want to show up on Tuesday. Yeah, but they talk about. You notice when they did the voting for the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Democrats respect election results. We believe in the democratic system. Really? But you're not showing up. What does that say about you, Hakeem Jeffries? Lying sack of manure. Lying sack of manure. BlackRock bought Escom. I don't think so, Peter. It's the last full moon. Oh, full moon last night. Okay. Yeah, let me see how the solar's doing today. Remember, we had the snow and ice on the panels, and I don't go up and clean them off. So let me see. So it's coming back slowly. Well, that's not good. It's 1 o'clock. I only have 8.7. So a few days ago, when the snow cleared, I went from 5 when the snow cleared off to 20, but then the next day it was a bit cloudy and I got 15 and then 14 because there was snow on the panels, didn't all come off. Today I only have 8.7, so 134 for the month. Not great. Not great. Just joined Angie, best military program brought to you by the Education Department of South Africa. What is Angie? I have no idea what that is. Angie Mocheka? And I don't know, what's number 4 foot-sec? I don't understand, what's that? Somebody have a comment on here? Okay, all right, so I don't know what that is. Thank you for the super chat, African Idiot, but I don't get it. Look, I was called on the spot just to ask me to say all that stuff, like that, and so I answered the question. But AGOA needs to go. AGOA needs to go. And it can be returned. That's the purpose of it. The purpose of AGOA is to help Africans achieve democratic governance, economic development, and responsive government that meets the needs of its population. That's why we created it. So we gave African countries who met the standard, almost none really meet the standard, who met the standard, duty-free access to a marketplace. And in some goods, it only amounts to 2% difference because the tariffs are only 2% of some of these goods. But it gives you a artificial advantage over other producers. So, for instance, South African wine can come to America with no duty. Australian wine pays a duty. Yep. Oh, that's what I should say to the South African government. Yeah, well, I didn't get a number 4. Gotcha. Foot-sec, yeah. Well, foot-sec to the ANC, that's for sure. Yeah, looking forward to seeing how CNN are trying to keep their company alive during the next 4 years while trawling for anti-Trump news. USA is the entertainment nation. We definitely are an entertainment nation. All right, well, all have a great evening. Time for me to... Okay, well, it's probably time for me to wrap up here, folks, anyway. Let me see how we're doing here. Let me see if he's still going over there. I'll send you over if he's still going. He might have stopped by now. No, he's still going, so let me go ahead and send you over there. All right, I'm going to wrap up. Thanks for being here, folks. We'll catch you next time. You need to build what I've designed, a large pet running wheel with a generator. You need to also get a bigger dog bus. Okay, gotcha. Thanks, everybody. Thanks. Have a good night. We'll catch you later. Leroy, I don't know if I answered that question fully, so you can ask it again next time. about the question you're asking. So I didn't really get around to the. It's not enough time to do that today because I got other things I got to do. But the question about Benghazi, we'll talk about that in another one. So catch me on Night Owls or something like that. Cheers, everybody. Thanks a lot for being here. And you'll be directed to Ronaldo for the last 3 seconds he's on. Cheers.